Hello, everyone. This is Oswald St. Oswald bringing you another episode of Maybe This Will Help. Got the sun warm in my back, feels great, I love it, and I want to talk to you guys a little bit about culture today. Culture is something that I don't fully understand yet, but I've just realized the importance of it in society. I've been wanting to help people for a while, and through helping some people, I realized that to help them, I need to help the other people in their life. And there's just not enough time in the day to keep going down the chain to help each person individually. And then I realized, what is it that to help everybody? How do you help everybody? And I realized you have to change the culture. Right now we live in a culture that first of all, there's a large cultures and there's smaller cultures. Within our own selves and within our own houses, we have many cultures. And then within our town is another culture. And then within our country is another culture. And in order for everyone to be able to experience good things and be happy, we need to have a culture that allows for it. Culture affects the way we view things, the way we interact with others, the things that we talk about and enjoy, the way that we enjoy them. And, if you go around the world in every different place, culture is different. And that's why people are different and people experience the same things in different ways. So, the thing I think is we need to, one, change the culture within ourselves and the war within ourselves. Heal the parts of ourselves that need healing, and that is part of the reason for this channel, is so that people can learn the tools to help heal that within. Now, even if you heal it within, sometimes the outside culture can still really affect you. And so that's why it needs to shift. And when you start to shift, more people will start to shift, more people will view things differently. Suddenly, you don't live in a crappy town because in your mind you're really happy, and you see people around you becoming more and more happy, and all of a sudden everybody that viewed that town as crappy before and felt bad about themselves for whatever reason, even subconsciously, will now start viewing it as better, and people will be happier, and people will be more apt to help other people or start something really cool that can make people feel even better about their town or their culture. The reason that this happens is because of a thing called collective consciousness. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that so that I can end my culture thing exactly how I'd like to. Collective consciousness is that because we are all vibration, we're all made up of elements. Everything in the entire material world, the floor, the tables, the ceiling, the trees, the sky, the air, the water, our food, us, our children, our pets, we're all made of a table of elements. And the elements are just made up of atoms. And the atoms are made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons. And then the further you get into physics, there's smaller and smaller parts. There's quarks and a bunch of other stuff that I don't know that much about. But all it is a bunch of stuff vibrating together in different ways. I'm an atom and I'm going to vibrate with these two atoms over here, and that makes wood. Or I'm an atom and I'm going to vibrate with these atoms over here, and that makes water, or that makes us, or that makes our heart, or that makes our blood. We're all just made up of these tiny things vibrating together. And if we were to go to the bathroom outside, walking home from the bar one night and you got a full bladder and you take a pee on a tree or on the ground or something like that, then those atoms aren't destroyed. They go into the ground and they start to vibrate with other things in the ground, and they become dirt, or they become a plant, or any possibility of what they could come. But the energy never gets destroyed, it just turns into something else. So we are all vibration, everything is vibrating together, and collective consciousness is each species has an invisible grid connecting us all, a vibration, if you will, that allows us to know other things that our species knows without us having to learn it in a book or whatever. The best example of this was in monkeys. In Japan, there's a small island off Japan that's inhabited by this one type of monkey. This monkey also is on the mainland, but these specific monkeys are stuck on this island, and they don't know how, and they don't have any contact with the mainland monkeys. Okay, so scientists started throwing sweet potatoes on the beach for these monkeys. And the monkeys like the sweet potatoes, they really like the sweet potatoes, but they don't like the sand. So they didn't really eat the sweet potatoes. Well, one of the little monkeys realized that it could wash the sand off the sweet potato. And when it first did this, the scientists observed that the adult monkeys wanted nothing to do with this information. They couldn't quite figure it out. But the little monkey, he showed a bunch of the other little monkeys, and once a good enough amount of the little monkeys figured out how to wash it, the adults started to catch on to it. And once the adults started to catch on to it, it only took about, I'm not sure if it's 100 or 1,000, but I think it gets to about 100 monkeys, and then all of them on the whole island knew how to wash the sweet potatoes. And not only did all of them on the island figure out how to wash the sweet potatoes, but simultaneously all the mainland monkeys that have no contact with the island monkeys also learned how to wash the sweet potatoes. There's another example of this in Australia, and now this may be false because I was told this by a friend and I haven't actually confirmed this, but there were sheep in southern Australia who figured out how to bypass the slatted road that they had installed to keep livestock off the freeway. They figured out how to roll over top of it instead of walk over it because they didn't like walking on it. They figured out how to roll over top of it. And as soon as the Southern Territory sheep did it, the ones in the north also learned it. So this is true in humans as well. They did a study, again starting in Australia. They made a face out of 1,000 faces, one big face out of 1,000 little faces, and they asked people how many faces they could see. It was a closed study, of about 100 people, I believe. And most people could only see about 10 faces within the big face. So they told them, okay, well there's actually 1,000 faces, and they showed it to them. And then they went to England, and they did the same study. And in England, they showed it to 100 people, and those 100 people could see about 100 faces in the 1,000 faces. So it was marked improvement how many faces they could see. So they told the people from that study, oh, it's 1,000 faces, and they sent them on their way. They went back to Australia and they did another study there with people who had never heard of this, and those people could see all 1,000 faces. So that's another great example of collective consciousness. So with happiness and with culture, the more people that start subscribing to a certain culture, a certain belief, the more the rest of us can easily grasp it and understand it without ever having even heard it. Somebody just tells us it, and it's easier for us to learn. So that's why culture is so important. And our culture right now is pumped into us from rich media corporations and things like that. Our government supports culture. They put a lot of money into the arts and music, but I think that they do it with the intention of distracting us from what's really going on rather than trying to support us in our evolution and growth. There's a lot of benefit to us being unhappy and involved with our own selves so much that we're not paying attention to the other things. So anyways, that's my theory on culture, that if we can shift our cultures, starting with inside ourselves, that we will quickly see the culture around us spreading to a happier thing, a more inclusive, less judgment, people doing cooler things, not needing as much money because there's cool things and cool people to go on to learn from and experience from, and more people helping each other out and things like that. So anyways, later days, my friends. I love you so much, and I will be back tomorrow, actually later today because I'm redoing this video from yesterday, with a quick video on meditation, what it is and how it'll help us. So like I said, I love you, and goodbye for now.